Okay, hello, this is going to be my first proper on-screen tutorial I'll be showing you today. On Facebook and places like that, I've been noticing a lot of questions about how to do realistic weathering easy and clean, where you're not going to get weathering powders absolutely everywhere and making a real mess of your workspace, and you can get kind of these sort of results. This is a rocky outcropping island I have been designing, so it's got some green sort of algae build up on the shoreline there and a very rugged looking texture, but this is all fixed down. It won't come off during gameplay or anything like that, but you can remove it if need be, which is quite easily done. So that's finished now, so I'm not going to play about with that, but this is a Forge World emblem that I have. I've mucked it up a bit, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to remove said weathering powders. Let me just re-angle the camera and zoom in a little bit. So just get these lights pointing down a little bit more. Just give me a second just to reposition these lights a little bit, because they are a little bit out of way. Just reposition these lamps a little bit so they're a bit closer to our object. Okay. Ow, that's hot. Position it downwards a bit, that's better. Now we can actually see what we're doing. Okay. So, all we do is take our humble cotton wool swab, or baby bud, or cotton swab, or Q-tip, wherever you're from. So many different pronunciations for them. But get some regular water, dip it in. So it's just damp. So rub some of it off on palette or whatever you've got. This is just a piece of paper, and then we can rub this over the area. Very gently rub it over the area. Be careful not to pull cotton wool swabs out. So say cotton wool. Go around here a bit, clean up this so it's only in the recesses. As you can see, whether my camera is picking this up very well, but you can see the cotton wool swab is actually picking up the weathering powders and removing them out of the way. Once this has dried, once the water that I've applied to this has dried, it will then re-adhere the weathering powders back down into place, and it is then safe to use again. So rub this down a little bit, so that's that done. So that's basically what we're going to do. So I'm going to show you how to do that on a extra piece to this island, which I haven't yet done. So we've got this rock here. It's cast out of resin. It's one of the ones that I cast before I decided to cancel my company and stop producing. So these are actually mine, which I'm going to be using for Dystopian Wars. So this has just been washed and sprayed with black primer. So what we're going to do first is we are going to grab some Vallejo Black Grey 70862 colour from Vallejo Model Colour, and we're just going to dry brush over thin coat. So I'm pretty sure you've all seen dry brushing before, so I'll just speed through this pretty quickly. Just get a nice dry brush. So I'll just give this a quick dry brushing over. It's quite difficult. I actually have a lot of respect for you guys out there who do these tutorials, because I am actually finding out how difficult it really actually is to do this kind of thing. So thumbs up to all you guys who do this day in, day out, like you guys from Incubi Painting, WCG Consortium, etc. by Painted. Okay, so dry off my brush again to get the second coat on there, which I'm going to be using another Vallejo Sky Grey from Vallejo Model Colour. My label's a little bit battered, but never mind. Add a slightly lighter dry brush of this. can see all the details are starting to pop out now on this rock. So what we do is giving it quite a heavy dry brush, because once this thing is weathered down, you're pretty much not going to see these. I hope you can see that very well. I hope you can see that, but that's it all dry brushed. So next part of this is we are going to take, I use these sauce containers that I bought from the pound shop. Got 10 for £1, so I use these as miniature pallets. As you can see, there is already some weathering powder solution in there, but it's already dried, so just angling my camera a little bit. So all we do is we take our weathering powder of choice, which I'm going to be using a mixture of Forge World Dark Sand or normal sand from Humbrol range. I've actually found it's very good. I've started using that, but I still have some of these, so we just take a small quantity of that. Then we're going to take some Forge World Medium Earth. Not too much of this one, not quite as much as the Dark Sand, because this is a lot more richer weathering powder. And then, as mentioned, I will be taking a small amount of the new Forge World weathering powder, which this one is just the white one. Money wise, you get a lot more for your money than you do from Forge World. These are £3.50 a pot. 50p more than Forge World, but you get 3 times the amount. So a little touch of this just to lighten it up all along. And then for the actual thing that adheres this down and allows you to be able to remanipulate it is actually Humbrol Decal Fix, used for attaching your decals to your models, and basically makes the decal hug down to the panel lines and gives it a painted on look. So take some of this. This is my weathering one. I have one for doing the decals as well, so I don't have to worry about getting decal fix. Oh, I usually use a syringe, but I can't be bothered to go actually into my workshop. I have to film in a separate room because the lighting in there is so atrocious. The lighting here isn't that great either. So what we do is we just mix in the decal fix, and then we add a touch of normal, just bog basic tap water. Don't need any alcohol or anything like that, so just add a couple of drops of water to this mix. I find about 3-to-1 water to decal fix is usually pretty good, or 2-to-1, depends on how heavy you want your weathering to be. I find is quite adequate. Yes, I'm just going to take this out of the shop for a second. Okay, near enough there. Okay, so just slosh that in there. Check the consistency. Yep, that looks about right. Okay, so let me just get this stuff out of the way so I'm not working on top of myself here. And then all we do is we take our weathering liquid, which is now in here, which is a mixture of, like I say, Dark Sand by Forge World, Medium Earth by Forge World, and White by Humbrol. We just take this mixture and just apply it all over the rock. This might be a little bit too thin because I did go a little bit overboard with the water there. What we do is we just apply this all over. Our rock. Don't worry about getting it looking very neat, because when this stuff dries, it will actually dry a lot lighter than it actually looks right now. So what I'll do is I've just applied it all over this, and then we will wait for it to dry, which should take around about 5 to 10 minutes. So I'll pause the video and we shall be right back once it is dried. You can use a hairdryer to speed up the drying time if you wish. So yeah. Right, now it's had a chance to dry. As you can see, it's all weathered up and rather mucky at the moment. So now all the weathering powders are fixed in place. So finger along it, and well, that was already there before, so let's pick a clean finger. No powder comes off. So it's all fixed down. You're able to manipulate it, move it about, do what you like with it. So what we can do now is same as what I showed you before on the Forge World thing. We get our cotton wool swab. You can use a wet brush, well, not a wet brush, but a damp brush. Just rub it over the weathering powders, roll it, generally just work the water back into the powder, and it basically just rejuvenates the powder and reactivates it, so it turns it back into the liquid form that we used, and we can just brush it away to reveal that dry brushing I did earlier. My cotton wool swab. We'll just rub this over these areas. Sometimes I find it's easier to use a brush, other times it's a cotton wool. Purely depends on what it is you're trying to weather. If you just roll this over the surface, and give me a second, I'm just going to get my paintbrush. Water's a little bit mucky. Okay, so this is a dampened brush. I'm just going to do the same. I'm just going to work away all these. You can see the pigments are just coming straight off, but it's leaving it in all of the recesses. This cotton wool swab here. Rub it over the surface. There. So this is useful in a certain number of reasons. One, if you make a mistake, take your piece, wash it in some warm water, all the weathering powder comes off. So if you make a mistake, it's very forgiving, other than using varnishes and stuff, because once that is fixed on there, you ain't getting it off. Also, if you're doing things like vehicles, which I'll probably paste a couple of pictures on at the end of a Project Heinrich Land Rover set I did, where you can weather the interior of the vehicle, take off the powders so it looks like it's been swept clear by boots of soldiers or being cleaned general, so you can do it that way as well. You can just clean up all of these areas. It gives you a perfect looking effect. Just add a bit more water to this just to, so it's a little bit more extreme for you guys to be able to see, because I don't think this camera's picking it up quite as well as it should do. In person this looks really good. It looks almost the same as the other rock, but the other rock had a bit of an extra dry brush layer just put over the top really finely with some ivory just to prick out those final accents, but these smaller rocks don't really need it. So what I'll do is I will get out my trusty hairdryer, throw water everywhere. Okay, so I've just whipped the hairdryer out and just quickly given this thing a quick drying off. So as you can see now, the highlighting I put on it before has come through, and all the weathering powders are all fixed down. That is how I do all my weathering. Very quick, very simple, slightly clean, but you don't get powder everywhere like you do usually. Minus the little mishap of me knocking my water pot over, but it's because I don't really have a lot of room to work in the filming studio. I really should get a bigger desk in here, but yeah, that's basically how I do my weathering. Very quick, very simple, very forgiving if you mess up. So For instance, I could just take this straight to the bathroom, rinse this out under some warm water, and it'd take all the weathering powder off. So, if any of you are interested in knowing some more techniques about weathering, just drop in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Any questions, just let me know. Cheers.